Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Babcock, and this is a mini lecture on the meaning and use of a chiasm. Now, in this week's assignments, you're going to be exploring a chiasm, and I wanted to spend a few minutes giving you an example and some insight into the meaning and use of a chiasm in a biblical structure. Now, this lecture is adapted from some notes by Thomas Clark, who did a really good job exploring in a quick way a chiasm. Now, first, the term itself, chiasm or chiasmus, literally means placing crosswise diagonal arrangement. And that definition is from Wade White, who gives another simple idea of chiasmus is the reversal of elements in otherwise parallel phrases. Let me say that again. A chiasmus is the reversal of elements in otherwise parallel phrases. So we have a parallel structure like we do in poetry, and yet it is intentionally designed such that outside pieces match, next level inside match, and next level inside match. And we'll explore that in a little more detail in a second. Simply put, each chiasm is a structured repetition of themes starting at the outside and moving towards the center. Now, some of the general principles, those who first identified this literary structure chose the word chiasmus because in the Greek, the letter chi looks like an X. In this illustration from Matthew 23, we see one line of the chi or X, which relates to each word. On the one side, we have exalt in the first and last, and then we also have the word humbles, which is connected by another line. So in Matthew 23:12, it reads, "Whoever exalts himself will be humbled. Whoever humbles himself will be exalted." Now, in one verse, we see a classic chiasm where the first part of the verse, "whoever exalts himself," is related to the last part of the verse, "will be exalted." And yet the two inner parts of the verse, "will be humbled," and "whoever humbles himself," are also related. So it's made in a parallel structure such that we can see that the middle, "to humble oneself," is the core of the chiasm. A chiasm or chiasmus is a writing style that uses a unique repetition pattern for clarification or emphasis. And as the header of this slide notes, the key to a chiasm is to find its center. The center of the chiasm is the theme of the passage, and that is essential to understanding what the biblical author is trying to communicate. Rather than using the word chiasm, some theologians refer to the structure as chiasmus, and a few refer to it as inverted parallelism, which is how it is referred to in your textbook. And still others use the term symmetric parallelism. No matter what it is called, the structure was widely used during biblical times, and it appears to add emphasis and identification of the theme to the passage. Now in Matthew 6, we have a nice verse that says, "No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." Now, what is the core to this passage, and why did the author say it this way? If we look at a chiasm, we can see that the A part of the passage, "no one can serve two masters," is related to the A prime of the passage, the last part of the passage, "you cannot serve God and wealth." So we see an identification through A and A prime that we have two masters, and in fact, those two masters for this passage are God and wealth. So we move to the next level. What does it tell us? The B and B prime of the passage, for either he will hate the one, and the word hate is there, we see parallel B prime and despise the other. So A, we have, this is talking about two different conflicting masters, God and money, or God and wealth. B, the one option is to hate or despise one or the other. And then our C level is C and love the other, C prime, or he will be devoted to one. So as we look at this passage, the core is to love one, and by context, we can tell that the one we're supposed to love is God, and therefore, we need to not serve wealth. So by looking at chiasm, we can identify the parallel structure and identify the core of the passage, in this case, which is to love God and not count wealth. Now, our last passage comes from Joshua chapter 1, and it's much longer and more difficult to understand, or at least unpack. No man will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Just as I have been with Moses, I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall give this people possession of the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it, neither to the left or to the right, so that you may have success wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not tremble or be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Now, if you just read this passage, clearly it's long and it takes a minute to unpack. But as you look at it, success, as I look at this, at least initially, seems to be what jumps out as to what is going to make you prosperous or successful. And yet a chiastic examination points to another idea as the core of the passage. Now, our A prong is no man will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Just as I have been with Moses, I will be with you. I will not fail or forsake you. And that's mirrored in the last part of the passage, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So just as I have been with Moses, I will be with you, is echoed in, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. The B and B prime are be strong and courageous, for you shall give this people possession of the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous. And this is mirrored by, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not tremble or be dismayed. The C part of the passage, be careful to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the left or to the right, so that you may have success wherever you go. Now there is a so that clause, and that's important to us. C prime, so that you may be careful to do according to all that it is written, for then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have success. But the core of the passage is our D and D prime. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. D prime, but you shall meditate on it day and night. So the core of this passage is clearly success is a part, but the core is that we need to stay focused on the Word of God and meditate on it day and night. If we do, the center of this chiasm, Then going backwards, we find in C and C prime that there are going to be benefits in our lives by having our focus upon God. But having our focus upon God is the core, and that's what we're looking for. So a chiastic study is to break a passage into its parallel parts, identifying in kind of a V format, or in some ways an X format, but a V format, starting where are, oops, let me get my fingers in my camera to work right. So we have here our A's, and then our B's, and then our C's, and then our D's, and then if there are E's. So we want to be able to look at and break out symmetrical parallel structures that move inward towards a crescendo or a center focal point of our V, which in this case is the D. So I hope that in 10 minutes helps you to understand a bit about chiasmus or chiastic structures, and I hope it helps you with your assignment. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to email or call me, and I'm happy to help. Have a great day.